Hey, shitheads! Welcome to Cyborg New Gods. I'm your game master, Dale, and I'm gonna be taking you dreckheads, you gutter punks, on a trip through the worst city in the world. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to do some good in this shithole. This is a Cyborg actual play podcast using the Cyborg OSR rules, available on DriveThruRPG or from Free League Publishing. Let's get right into it. Constantly in flux, the world is shifting, distorting, always reborn as something worse. Destruction by ecological catastrophes, the fallout of history's belligerence, by modern man-made miseries, or the blood spilled by the reckless machine of capitalist supremacy. Mankind's greatest ability truly is to destroy itself in creative ways. Designer demise, consumer customized death, endlessly on repeat. Poisonous space rocks, nuclear weapons, cyclical revolutions, warring nations, warring corporations, warring neighbours, pandemics, tsunamis, volcanoes. In between it all, direct person-machine interfaces, tactical neural implants and bacteria from outer space, hijacking intercellular nanorobotics. And the sky is full of ads. Everyone is interfaced, injected, infected, infested with something. Everyone wants something from everyone else. Everyone is a liar and a cheat. Everyone wants more creds. Welcome to the year 2073. Welcome to the only city in the world that matters. Somewhere in the radiation-blasted, waterlogged expanse of Western Europe, its original name is lost to time. Now, it is known only as the Psy. You are all gutter punks, mercenaries, taking odd jobs to pay your rent, to get enough money to stave off hunger for another day, and most of all, to slowly chip away at the debts you owe to benefactors who want their money back very badly. For the last several months, you've been taking jobs that have been assigned to you by a gruff, vaguely Eastern European man named Ivan, who operates out of a dive bar in the ports of Psy, surrounded by neon-lit streets and flickering holographic billboards. The exterior of Ivan's bar is made of rusted metal and shattered windows with a flickering neon sign above the door that reads, "The Rusty Nail." Inside the bar, where you all meet tonight, the atmosphere is dim and smoky, with a few flickering neon lights providing the only illumination. The air is thick with the smell of cheap liquor and stale cigarette smoke. Ivan's regular patrons are a rough-looking bunch, a mix of cyberpunk outcasts, criminals, and those down on their luck. The bar itself is made of scuffed and stained metal, with a few flickering holo displays showing the latest news and entertainment on constant feeds that are constantly scrolling. I'm going to upload a picture of Ivan in Owlbear Rodeo so you can see what he looks like. Ivan is a tall, imposing figure with a cybernetic arm and glowing red eyes. His hair is slicked back and he's covered in tattoos and piercings. He wears a black leather apron over his worn t-shirt and jeans. In the time you've known Ivan, he's gruff and no nonsense, but he has a soft spot for regulars and those in need. He keeps a close eye on his patrons, and he's quick to defuse any potential trouble. But best of all, in your case, Ivan knows all the gossip and rumours in the city, and he's a valuable source of information. As you all take your seats at the bar in front of him, he folds his arms and he smiles. Ah! And here we are! For the first time you all meet! Sure, you've done jobs for me on your own. You've stolen cars, you've brought me jailbroken tech. But this next job, this guy I'm working with, he wants a team, a full team. A team of you gutter punks who can get things done. Drinks? He doesn't even let you answer. He just nods and says, drinks! And he slams 4 grimy glasses on the bar, whirls around, grabs a bottle of new vodka, and pours you each a shot. Now, before we get to business, pleasantries! He says. Go ahead, introduce yourselves. Let's go ahead.
Ghost,
Ash, go first.
Sorry. Ghost takes the glass with 2 hands and brings it up to them.
Yep.
Brings it up to their mouth, and as they begin to drink, a voice echoes in each of your minds, different for all of you, and it'll never be quite the same. And it says, yeah, Ghost here. What do you want?
And Ghost, let me tell you, Ghost knows her shit, says Ivan. You hear about that data breach that affected AGCS a month ago? Everyone's medical records spilling out onto the open net. Now you know who I paid to get that done.
Yeah. Not my best work, but for the few of you who might have biological ears, you might, Ghost's voice would paint a picture of someone barely over the age of 16.
Yeah, she seems very young for what she is, and you notice, slung over her shoulder, her cyber deck, and it's unlike any cyber deck you've ever seen. The word on the label on the casing proclaims that it is a Futura 200, a once respectable but now obsolete entry-level cyber deck produced by Futura Corporation. And indeed, Ghost, this is what it was when you received it as a gift when you were a kid. But in the years since, you've tweaked it, replaced parts with other parts, expanded its memory and all of its components, and now what you have slung over your shoulder is not a Futura 200 at all. It is instead your own personal extension of yourself, Frankensteined from a selection of components from all sorts of different systems. Now, let's move on to Alt. Go ahead, introduce your character.
At first, nobody noticed that Jonathan was even there. He definitely doesn't fit in and definitely doesn't stand out in any way, wearing a bright white trauma team get-up. Still wearing the hazmat lid that's well known across the entire city. He doesn't address anybody directly, but instead picks up the drink and mutters, "It's terrible for your health, you know. You shouldn't drink any of this."
Bah! Says Ivan, brushing a muscular hand through the air. He says, "Don't listen to a thing this nurse says. My drink'll make you strong, grow hairs on your chests. Besides, Jonathan here got cut from AGCS a couple months ago when the corpo bastard he was assigned to bled out in the back of his ambucar. That's why he's here, patching up you sorry punks."
Okay,
How long are you planning on living anyway, bio shit?
Longer than anybody else around here, hopefully.
Yeah, good luck with that.
He turns to the strange-looking man who grabs his glass and, rather than downing it, as you all have, seems to pour it down the hem of his shirt. Go ahead, Paradox, introduce your character.
Okay. So as he grabs the glass and you notice him there, first thing you probably notice is instead of the lower part of his face is covered with what would look like a mask, except it's very clearly that is his face, and then on his cheeks are two speakers instead of a mouth. And then takes the glass, instead of taking it to his mouth, moves it down to about where his belly button would be, where he's wearing a fairly rough-looking top with a sort of one of those bubble dome things you sort of see on those backpacks people have for their pets. So like that with the little view window that the pet can look out of. Except if you look through the window, you notice there's a mouth there instead of a belly button, which open, and then he pours the drink in.
All the TV screens in the bar display a looping GIF of an anime girl looking very surprised, and you hear Ghost's voice say, "Nice gear."
Ivan just scowls at Ghost and says, "Hey, now you're lucky I don't put ice in there."
Nothing you could afford could get me.
This is a paradigm. Is that what you're going by these days?
At the moment, yeah. Yeah.
Now don't be unsettled, the rest of you. What he's doing, that ain't a fetish, ain't nothing sexual. That's just what the nano infestation left him with, a big mouth right there on his navel. And he says whatever he puts in there tastes a lot better than it does going down his real mouth.
Oh, good lord, an infestation.
Paradigm, what is that, French?
Greek if I recall.
And sure as shit ain't Russian, says Ivan. And then he turns his attention to the last member of your group, someone who you've no doubt been watching very carefully since you entered the bar. Demiurge, please go ahead and describe Kitty Bang Bang.
There's a whump, a clatter, and the chair scoots back as a half-meter tall tabby cat, humanoid tabby cat, wearing a pirate's greatcoat and with a series of grenades on her back that are not sized for her. A sawed-off shotgun that is definitely not sized for her. Puts her hands on her hips, looks back and forth between you two. Alright then, this'll be me crew. Reaches... The shot glass is already empty. She tosses it aside, grabs a bottle, drinks the rest of it, breaks the bottle, loops it on her back. I be Kitty Bang Bang. Captain Kitty Bang Bang to ye lot. I be temporarily dimensionally displaced, but this not be important right now. I'll be leading ye giants to success. Listen to me, and we'll be ship shape.
Sorry. In a flash, Ghost's face is up very close to Kitty, and they're like, "Ivan, is this your droid?"
Do I be having bad breath or something?
It's amazing. It's so lifelike.
So are ye. Keep that up. We'll both survive this. And I had a broken bottle in my inventory.
Broken bottle.
You couldn't see it, but Ghost kind of scowled a little bit at being called lifelike.
She's known as a feline death around here. Don't let her size fool you, says Ivan. She knows her way around that shotgun, and her aim's true.
Less than a meter target area be not a bad thing.
How do you deal with a recoil?
Poorly, but that's not important now.
Rest of
The
you
anime
might
girl on the
remember,
TV is laughing.
Rest of you might remember that fast food chain, Doggy Dinner or something like that. And
Doggy bag.
Doggy bag, that's the one. They were serving ground up strays off the street as burgers. Didn't last very long, but what you see here, Captain Kitty Bang Bang, was their mascot. Allianson put a lot of credits into the technology and the artificial intelligence in that little cute feline head of hers. And here she is, doing odd jobs for a handful of creds out of a dive bar in the ports.
I'd be needing a ship to get back home, that's all. But
Yeah.
until then, we be crew! To see what's out of hand.
A ship, sure, says Ivan, brushing his hands in the air. Well, now that formalities have been made, let's get to the business. He claps his hands together. I got a big one for you. A Reaper Doc goes by the name Dr. Tate. He's thinking of setting up shop down in the slums. And he needs a team to help him secure a home base. Really, a place to work out of. Wants to set up a clinic and maybe make a difference in this piss-encrusted place. Used to
The
work...
same thing I've heard all day.
Indeed. It's a noble cause. He used to work for one of the corps. Either AGCS or Allianson, one of the two. Says he quit because, well, they were straining these ethical boundaries, and here he is, just trying to do a bit of good. Well, I told him I got some good folks that'll settle his debts for him. And here you are. So I told him you'd be paying him a visit tonight, and, once I've taken me finder's fee, of course, he will be willing to put 200 credits towards your debts, plus 100 credits in your pocket to spend on whatever you wish.
A worthy payment for a noble cause.
And this could be a foot in the door as well, says Ivan. Jobs I've had you running are for gutter trash. But Dr. Tate looks like he's got some friends in high places. You impress him, this could be your ticket out of this dump. I'm sure you'll all miss my lovely mug, though.
I'll just have to work on me aim, Ivan.
Well,
You two,
Yep.
you two are cute together.
I think you'll all get along just fine. Dr. Tate's waiting at a nightclub a couple blocks from here called Tech Noir. I told him you'd be meeting with him soon as you finish your drinks here, so, be fucking off with you, he says, claps his hands together, then he turns around to greet some of his regulars. Ah, Marcus! No vodka like usual? He grabs the bottle and pours his regular a drink and starts chatting, ribbing the newcomer, much in the same way he's been doing with you guys ever since you arrived.
Alright, gang, let's get a move on.
So you rise from your seats and you head outside, and the humid night air and the faint, salty smell of the port of Sai envelops you. The ports were once the trade and commerce sector of the city, but these days, nowhere outside of Sai is worth thinking about. Sai is the center of the world, after all. And so the ports are now nothing more than a collection of seedy nightclubs, dive bars, fetish clubs, and other centers of cacophonous hedonism. It's the entertainment district for the city's true citizens. So, you've been told to go and meet with Dr. Tate at the Tech Noir nightclub. It's down on the south side of the Ports District. It's more than a couple city blocks, as Ivan suggested. If you were to walk it, you'd be at it for at least an hour. And there'd always be the chance of being accosted by gang goons, nano freaks, or any of the various gutter dregs that thrive in the many seedy establishments that exist within the ports. But it doesn't look like you'll have to walk, or wait 3 hours at the nearest L station for the train to arrive, because as you step out onto the street, you see Paradigm walk over the cracked concrete towards an old school motorcycle, something from way back at the turn of the 21st century. You can just make out the words Harley something on the gas tank, faded. And parked next to it, what appears to be a standard black and yellow Psy taxi. Except the sign on the top that would usually proclaim its status as a taxi is missing, and all of the QR tags and access nodes that would be painted along the side to allow people to track the taxi's route or book its services have been clumsily scraped away as if somebody's taken a sharp instrument to the paintwork.
Alright, I suppose you'll all be wanting a lift then. One rule. Don't interrupt me while I'm driving. I'm serious about that. I will throw you out.
Alright then, pilot. You have yourself a deal.
Okay, Dad.
I suppose it's a good thing I have my own ride then.
Yeah.
I'd offer to go with ye, but this kitty never rides, bitch.
As everyone clambers into your stolen taxi, Jonathan, and you slide into the driver's seat and insert the ignition chip into the slot, and the engine starts. A little red light blinks just above the rear view mirror, and you wonder if you should caution your new business partners about the fact that you probably won't want to drive this thing anywhere near parts of the city that have ID scanners, as it's probably been in a database of stolen vehicles for the last 3 months and will get you accosted by SecCorps the moment anyone realizes where you got it from.
The second she crawls into the shotgun seat, Kitty's like, "Shh. Remember, kids, always buckle up, no matter if you're just going down the block."
Sound advice, actually.
How modern is this taxi?
So Ghost, as you slide into the back seat, and you got the back seat all to yourself, you look around.
It's just lying across the entire back seat.
Yeah, just lying across the entire back seat. You look around to see if you can find a jack for your cyber deck. There'd usually be one sticking out of the back seat somewhere. You realise there isn't one, and indeed, the little screen that's attached to the back of the driver's seat that would normally allow you to browse the Surface net has a message blinking on the screen simply saying, "Update firmware, update firmware, update firmware." And according to the version number down in the bottom right, it's at least 2 years out of date.
Dude, when was the last time you updated this thing?
Now, it might not surprise you, but this is as low-tech as possible on purpose. It's not fully, legal, you see. And as such, I won't be taking us entirely to our destination. There will be some ambulation upon foot.
Yeah, that's not gonna work without, scrapping the components. You just got dead software in here.
Look, if you plug into this, I will throw you out as well. I'm making a second rule.
Okay. I can take a look at for you later if you want.
Look, we can talk, but don't touch it, please. Seriously, it means a
Not
lot.
touching anything.
The taxi.
Be careful. He'll make you walk the plank.
The taxi pulls away from the curb with a jolt and starts screaming down the neon-soaked streets, and behind it, the roar of the motorbike coming to life fills your ears. Vroom! Through the rearview mirror, you can see Paradigm merging into the traffic, keeping pace with Jonathan's taxi. Paradigm, is there anything special about your old bike?
Other than it's probably one of the only vehicles that still runs on gasoline, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's just the fact that it's old and probably rare considering where we are.
Yeah, not a single component in it that connects to Wi-Fi. You were pretty lucky to find this. You found it a couple years ago when you and some other guys you used to run with were on an expedition in Ground Zero, looking for old pre-incident tech that you could hawk on the black market. You came away from that expedition with 3 things: a bite on your navel from a nano-infested Ground Zero rat, crippling PTSD and survivor's guilt after the rest of your crew got torn to shreds by a pack of nano freaks looking for fresh meat, and this, the old Harley, as you've been calling it. The one good thing that came out of that ill-fated expedition into Ground Zero. Doesn't take long before you reach Tech Noir. Tech Noir is located in the heart of the city's impromptu entertainment district. In contrast to the worn-down warehouses and industrial buildings that make up the majority of the ports, its exterior is sleek and modern, covered in neon signage proclaiming it to be the hottest spot in the docks of the latest Monster Wave and Mobster Wave bands. The security seems to be slightly tighter than you would expect from a seedy establishment in the docks. There's a cybernetically enhanced bouncer standing in front of the entrance, carefully, one by one, admitting people from the head of the long line into the sensory overload within. He's got a big metal cyber arm on his right, and it seems to end not in a hand, but in some sort of cannon. In addition, at the foot of the line that stretches out far beyond the main courtyard of the nightclub and onto the curb, you see biometric scanners that blink bright green lights whenever a new patron joins the line, reading the biometric data stored in their retinal implants. So you park your vehicles in a parking lot about a block away and walk the rest of the way to the nightclub. And as you approach the line, what will you do? Will you simply line up like everyone else, go through the biometric scanners, past the bouncer, and into the nightclub?
Do I know what they'd be likely to be scanning for?
So I'd like you to go ahead and make a knowledge check for me. So roll a d20, add your knowledge skill, and if you have skill in hacking, or technology rather, go ahead and add an extra +2.
Okay, so that's an 8.
An 8. So, with a roll of 8, You're able to determine, just from looking at them, that these are pretty standard biometric scanners. They're what you'd expect to find at any public transport station, at the headquarters or branch office of most corporations, or in most shopping malls. They scan your retinal implants remotely, logging your name, age, and date of birth into a database. Most likely logging who was at the club and when they arrived, and when they leave as well.
Okay, I'm definitely wanting to be sending them a false packet then.
Yeah.
To, box that.
Yep. So with your roll of 8, I'll allow you to do that. So, Ghost, you're not too keen on having anyone know you were here. Ostensibly, it's only the owners of the club, or perhaps the security corp, that runs law enforcement and security for them, that would have access to this database to see who's entered and who's left. But you know that data leaks all the time, and so you don't want your true identity on that list. So as you approach the foot of the line, you unsling your cyber deck and type a command on the keyboard, and everyone else just hears the keys clack. And before you press the enter button to execute it, will you obfuscate everyone else's identities as well, or just your own?
Everyone except Jonathan.
Everyone except Jonathan.
Teenage Rebellion.
You hit the execute button, the cyber deck whirs, and as you step into the line, the biometric scanners beep. Beep beep. Green lights flash, and your retinal implants are flooded with a barrage of ads for super lube, real beer, real tobacco, schedule for the night's live entertainment, and a price list of drinks zooming past in a constant scroll of information. Finally, it fades away, and the words, "Welcome to Tech Noir," followed by your fake names, blink in front of you as if the words are floating in midair. You wait in line for about 15 minutes, until you finally get to the head of it and stand before the augmented bouncer. He folds his arms together and then points his cannon arm in your direction as he quickly sizes each of you up. Finally, he raises his cannon arm, resting it on his shoulder, and he says, peering at Kitty Bang Bang, "You're not up to code. Can't let you in wearing that, not unless you're on someone's list."
I be up to the pirate's code.
Pirate's code.
So I'm not sure what you be complaining about.
Right.
What precisely is violating your charter, matey?
Well, let's see. You got that tricorn on your head.
Aye.
Dressed up like a sailor. You got that right. You got that blue coat on. He gestures towards the other three. He says, "Rest of you are fine.
Listen, matey. May I perhaps
I'm fine.
persuade you to overlook me natty duds in exchange for some fresh food?"
Go ahead and
And Kitty
make...
Bang Bang pulls out the leftovers of her dinner. A freshly prepared rib sandwich with actual meat in it.
Well, it claims... That's the brand name. Actual meat.
Oh, no.
Trademark.
Oh no, there's actual
real
meat.
Real meat.
She hunted and cleaned it herself.
I was really hoping you were just gonna regurgitate it up.
Yeah, she just
Mama bird.
a little compartment slides open in her upper torso.
Some food.
She just reaches in and extracts it from her inner organs.
No.
And, the bouncer's eyes light up as he sees it, and he says, Okay. Real meat? None of that ground zero soil-grown shit?
Nay, this be fresh too.
Make a presence check for me, and if you have the persuasion skill, go ahead and
Why,
add
I do.
+2 to it.
Alright. So, that'll be a 20.
20. Yeah, lovely. He snatches the sandwich out of your hand, sniffs it, and then narrowing his eye, he bites into it. Chews. Well, you know what? It doesn't taste like anything I've eaten before, so I'm gonna say it's real based on that. Alright, look. I don't give a fuck how you're dressed. I just wanted to...
There you go, Petey.
I just wanted to, get the feel for you. I ain't seen any of your faces before, and you stand out.
'Tis fair. If I'd have drawn down, you'd have known something about me.
Yeah, well, no drawing in the club, okay?
Oh, stick figures is me limit.
Anyone makes any trouble, I'll be in there, and old Betsy here, he raises his cannon arm. We'll put you down quickly. Enjoy your night, he says, as he steps aside, gesturing towards the door.
Oh dear.
Inside, the club is a sensory overload of flashing lights, pulsing music, new wave, you think, and augmented reality displays. The patrons are a mix of the city's elite and cyberpunk subculture dressed in flashy, cybernetic enhanced clothing. You look around past the people swelling on the dance floor, jiving to the new wave music, past a crowd of punks on the periphery of it all, dressed in pinstripe suits, making their best attempt at being mob wave posers, probably completely ignorant that there are actual mobsters in attendance somewhere in a place like this. And you spy what must surely be Dr. Tate. He's seated alone in one of the booths opposite the dance floor, and he's the only one, aside from Jonathan, who looks like he has anything to do with medicine. He's wearing his white doctor's coat, which is visible from the entrance of the nightclub. Anything you'd like to do before you head over to him?
So, be everyone happy with the price that was negotiated? Or should we try to bargain a bit?
Yeah, good idea. 200 off your debt plus 100 credits to spend as you see fit.
We definitely need to be asking him about what problems he's seeing, too. Just trying to give him the side eye. Anyone good at reading tells?
I don't know what that would be.
So that would probably be to read people. I would say that would usually be a presence check, just generally. But depending on who you're talking to, an investigate or a streetwise skill.
It depends on the type of gonk, but sometimes I can make it work.
Alright.
Can on occasion.
In that case, I'll start flapping me gums, and if he starts lying, just scratch your cheeks a bit. The ones on your face. The ones on your face.
So you make your way over to him, pushing your way through the crowded dance floor, past the mob wave posers, past a group of monster wave teens who are snarling at you as you move past, dressed in werewolf costumes.
Oh, that gets a scowl.
Watch it, punk! One of them calls out, bearing his fake werewolf teeth.
I would, but I'm not sure what I'd be watching.
We don't like kitty wave posers.
First
Monster
flush
wave
is
is
there.
where it's at.
Ghost flashes their very real fangs back.
They snarl, "Rah!" and then step aside to let you pass. And
I'll bark and no bite.
yeah, well, that's about typical for Mobster Wave and Monster Wave kids. They're posing as tough, but they're really just kids in costume chasing a trend.
Posers.
Learned that from the first werewolf pair I happened upon. Poor lads.
So you step up towards the little booth at the back of the club, and Dr. Tate looks up at you. He's a middle-aged, tired-looking individual with bags under his eyes. I'm going to bring up a picture of him in Owlbear. He has a cybernetic implant on his right temple, indicating his proficiency in cybernetic medicine. He's wearing a white lab coat over a stained and rumpled shirt, and his hands laid out on the metal table in front of him are rough and calloused from long hours of work. As he sits upright and reaches for his drink, he moves with a sense of urgency and exhaustion, as if he's under the pump in a hospital, in a hurry to get to the next patient. And as he meets your eyes, Jonathan, he smiles and gives you an all-knowing look. Your friends, comrades in arms.
You know this guy, Jonathan?
You've never met him before, Jonathan, but you recognise the look on his face, the bags under his eyes, and this is probably where you would have been 5 years from now. Were you still working for Trauma Team?
So I don't know him personally, but I know the face of anybody on the other side of this cesspit.
Yeah, too right, says Dr. Tate, gesturing for you to sit down. You've been there on the front line, you've staunched those gaping bullet wounds, had people bleed out in your arms. But you're doing it because you want to make a difference, right?
Or don't we all?
You guys just melt my heart.
They have something to fight for. That's rare in these dark times. I'm gonna hop up on the table. Stick out a hand.
As you take... Yep. So he reaches... Go ahead, Paradigm.
Just other thing there, so Dr. Taint, I presume.
He looks up at you, looks you up and down, and he nods and he says, and you'd be Paradigm, I'm presuming. You got the look about you, I can see it in your eyes. Nano infestation.
What give it away? Give it away, the fact that my mouth's in the wrong spot?
Would have guessed you'd have something like that going on. Look, he raises his hands. I ain't judging ya. Literature's still not clear on what the end stage of this whole nano-infestation thing is. Could be you're gonna die a horrible death, could be you're gonna turn into one of them nano-freaks, but for now, you've got some useful skills, and I say if you can do some good with them, then you're alright in my books.
While this conversation's happening, Ghost is flagging down a very stiff drink.
Yeah. So as you sit down, the drink menu once again slides into view on your retinal implants, and you scroll through it, Ghost, and you pick a nice...
They're teenagers, so they want something that tastes kind of alright and has the highest alcohol to cost ratio possible.
Yeah. So you scroll through the list and settle on a bottle of real beer, TM. It costs 2 creds. You confirm the transaction and a little message blinks up. A little cartoon gif of a waiter holding a silver tray with bottles on it. And the speech bubble popping out of his mouth reads, "Your order is on its way!" And then he disappears. Does anyone else order any drinks?
A rum.
A rum. That'll be...
Just a shot.
Yeah.
So you scroll down the list, you find something called New Rum. and you order a shot of it. 1 credit.
Hey, what the hell?
Paradigm and Jonathan, tempted?
Jonathan's just going to watch Tate and see what he does.
Tate reaches for the glass in front of him and he takes a sip of it, and based on the colour of the liquid in the glass, you presume he's knocking back something strong. Whiskey, perhaps. Not real whiskey, of course, but that would be far too expensive, more than a doctor would make in a year, but he's probably has good enough taste that he knows how to order a nice, smooth bottle of, at the very least, Imito whiskey.
Jonathan's going to pass. He knows better than to drink.
Yeah. Paradigm, something for the naval mouth?
Fuzzy navel.
Yeah. He'll go for... Try to get something that's like moderate strength, but also on the cheap side.
Yep.
I do not have a lot of credits.
So you scroll down the list and you just settle on a shot of real rum, just like Kitty Bang Bang. 1 credit. And after a few minutes, a side droid rolls up and holds out its mechanical arm and carefully lowers your drinks onto the table. Its mechanical face turns towards you, and the speaker where its mouth should be says, "Enjoy your drinks," and then it turns around and rolls away back into the sensory overload. Paradigm, you take the glass of real rum and feed it into your navel mouth as Dr. Tate watches with curiosity. And feeding it into your navel mouth has an effect. It gives you 1 temporary HP until the next time you sleep.
Oh, nice.
Alright, says Dr. Tate, crosses his calloused hands together and leans over the table. I assume Ivan's given you the skinny on the job.
The basics. We're to escort you into the slums where you'll be setting up a sawbone shop for your good works. A medical bay, as it were.
Right, yeah. See, I used to be a corporate sawbones, but it was draining day after day. My service is being restricted to those who had the creds to pay off their insurance, when there are people here dying, bleeding on the streets, and there are people that need cyberware that could enhance their lives, chrome that could help a crippled man walk, chrome that could restore sight to the blind, and they'll never afford it. So I got out while I could, took some of the corpse supplies with me, and, well, before they catch on to what I'm doing, I want to do some good. Look, I'm 50 fucking something years old, and before I go out, I want to improve some lives, you know, Hippocratic Oath and all that. He says, up till now, I've just been working out of, well, wherever I can set up for the night. Back alleys, back room of bars, old junkyards. But I can't get shit done there. Not without proper equipment, not without an operating theatre and a proper clinic. So I was browsing records of the old corp, and there's this place down in the slums. He thinks for a moment. In Barnyard Fields, to be exact, south of Key 47. An old vid studio. And now, look, I know you would think, what's an old vid studio gonna be helpful at all when it comes to doing doctor stuff. And here's where I tell you that the vid studio was where they used to film this show called Emergency Surgery. You ever heard of it?
Oh, I grew up
Can't
with
say I
it.
have.
So, Jonathan, you're the only one with the medicine skill, I believe. So, you're probably the only one who's actually heard of it. And it hasn't been on the air for at least 20 years. But you remember having a bizarre affinity for this show when you were very young. Essentially, the show is exactly what it sounds like. Emergency surgery. Except it's performed on a soundstage and streamed live over the airwaves. People could even make donations to the studio during the show to influence the doctors into performing all sorts of bizarre things in the surgery, such as giving someone an extra lung or installing extra limbs and augmented digestive systems that the people undergoing surgery didn't necessarily pay for or consent to. But hey, the ratings were good. It went for 14 seasons before it got shit canned. Dr. Tate sees a look on your face and he says, yeah, you probably grew up watching it, didn't you?
Well, my parents wouldn't let me watch anything quite so violent, but The Help, when my folks were away, they didn't mind so much.
Oh, The Help. Fancy.
Yeah.
And if I had to hazard a guess, it's what gave you an affinity for medicine.
Not exactly. It made me realize what's inside people, but it was the beginning of something, I believe.
Did you realize that being a doctor pays well?
Tate shrugs. He looks at Ghost and he says, pays well. I suppose you could say that. Nowhere near enough to get a place in the hills, sure, but at least a doctor doesn't have to make do in the slums. Well,
Don't know if you noticed, Ghost, but I'm in the same situation you are.
Easy now.
Yeah, alright.
Easy. A skilled sawbones is no laughing joking. People deserve good compensation for good work.
well, look, you're all here meeting with me because Ivan said you got debts that need paying. You'll take pretty much any job that comes your way. So, that's all I need to know, that you're going to do the job. But if you have an ounce of integrity about you and you want to do some good in this shithole of a city, I'll take that as a bonus, okay?
We do, but there be a thing I'd like to raise.
Yeah, go ahead, he says.
Originally, I was thinking the payment was a little low, but upon hearing your plan, I'd like to ask for something else instead of a pay hike. I would like to ask that me friends get a healthy discount, and I get a healthy discount should we require treatment or cyberware installation.
Go ahead and make a presence persuasion check for me.
It seems only fair. We're helping set you up, and in the future, if we need something, you help set us up. So that'll be
Am I
a
able to
16.
help with that?
Yeah, if we'll see what happens first with Kitty Bang Bangs, and then you
Yeah,
can roll one.
16's pretty good.
16.
16.
Yep. 16's pretty good. So Dr. Tate listens to what you say, and then he nods, and he waits for the new wave song in the background to wind down. And in the 10 or so seconds before the next song starts up, he leans forward and he whispers, "Alright. So I've already worked out with Ivan 400 creds for each of you. 200 off your debt, 100 in your pocket, 100 to Ivan for his finder's fee. But hey, you
Alright.
get me a
So that's
place.
legit.
You get me a place to set up, and we'll say 50% discounts on all medical services you need, so long as you come to me, and tell your friends about me.
I'll look around to the crew. What do you say, crew?
Hey, better rates than I normally get, sure.
I look at the others. I can't hear you.
I wish
Jonathan
that I
just
could say the
mumbles.
ghost gets that, but they don't.
Bit before.
Jonathan
Bit before.
mumbles to himself and lets everyone kind of murmur around themselves before he speaks up. I didn't intend on getting any more implants. This is not a great deal for me, personally.
But if you get shot to shit, we got a place that you could go. And save some money on getting unshot to shit.
Well, Jonathan,
Hey.
says Dr. Tate. Yeah, sure. I can tell by the looks of you that you're pretty good at patching people up. So, any skills I can provide probably ain't much value to you. But, I know there's one thing that you're gonna have trouble getting since you're not with the Corp anymore, and that would be medicine. I don't mean shit off the street. I mean the real stuff.
Really? You can get real medicine?
I got a couple of contacts still in the Corp, and sure, they mark it up to 100%, but I can get it.
Oh, that's an easy deal then, of course.
I'll sell it to you wholesale price. So,
Surely you are a man of medicine.
as the
Besides, everybody gets chrome sooner or later, man. You're gonna need to get it at some point. May as well get ahead of the curve.
hey, we're all getting retinal implants put in a couple days after birth, so, says Dr. Tate, it's gonna happen sooner or later. And he's right. You don't know about anyone outside of Psy, because Psy is the heart of the world. It's the only city worth caring about after all, but everyone in Psy gets a retinal communication device implanted right after birth. It slots right in there in front of your iris, and the only visible signs it has are the pinpricks of metallic wire visible right on the very edge of your eyes, and this is what allows everyone to access the surface net. It's what's allowing the drinks menu to flood past your face right now. Dr. Tate says, okay, so we got a deal then. He holds out his hand for Kitty Bang Bang to shake.
One more question. Do you know anything about this site beyond the fact that it is where it is? Is there anyone there now?
Yeah, getting to that, he says. In the background, the music begins to swell as the new song reaches its crescendo, and he raises his voice so that you can hear him over this cacophony. So, Corp hasn't filmed the show there in quite a while. They've pretty much forgotten the place exists. Sure, it's still on some asset list in their database somewhere, but they ain't doing anything with it, as far as I can tell. But they still got all the medical equipment from the emergency surgery days there. It's a little bit out of date, but I can make do with it. The soundstage was set up as an operating theater, and there's all sorts of dialysis machines, anti-rejection drugs for chrome, all that sort of stuff just lying around waiting for me to make use of it. Now, I don't dare set foot down in Barnyard Fields on my own, and I don't have much in the way of contacts down there. So I don't know what the status of the site is exactly, but I know it's been abandoned for a while, and given that it's intact and full of equipment that would fetch at least a decent price on the secondary market, I'd say you're pretty safe assuming that some gang or another's got their paws on it currently.
Alright.
Now, if
that's the
anyone
case-
is there, obviously I want them cleared out. Now, this doesn't have to come down to blood. Sure, I won't be crying over any gang goons that get a dirt nap, but If you can get him out of there without having to kill anyone and bring heat down on the place, I'll give you a bonus.
Alright, next question. If there
Holy
is
shit,
someone
wait a
there-
minute, you want us to gentrify the ghetto.
He smiles. Hey, it's for the greater good.
That's what they always fucking say.
He's kind of a rogue duck. Let me ask this. If there is somebody there and they be open to negotiation, would you be willing to pay for guards or protection or something like that?
He thinks for a moment. Security might
I'm
be
just
a
trying
good...
to figure out.
Security might be a good choice, he says. Look, I was planning on handling that myself. I was gonna tap Ivan for some more punks, no offense, to handle it for me, but if there's someone there, and they're willing to work security, and you can arrange that, sure, I'll take them. It's a clinic, it's an old corporate asset, but it's still in the midst of the slums. Barnyard Fields is not a safe district by anyone's standards. And you know, word's gonna be out on the street that there's a doc handing out drugs and chrome. Might attract some people who are desperate enough to turn to violence.
Aye.
Yeah.
'Tis a hard world you have out here in this land, giants. Alright, does anyone have any more questions for the nice Sawbones?
And right now, says Ghost as they start typing something up to themselves.
I presume we'll be getting your contact info should anything untoward arise.
He nods, and as he says this, he reaches up and presses a button above his right eye, tapping something into his retinal implant. Suddenly, his face appears floating in your vision, and before it fades out, the words "contact added" flicker in front of your vision. Yeah, go ahead, you can swap it alt. And he says, look, I've just added you to my RCD network. All you gotta do is reach out, and I'll be on the other end of the line. I don't plan on getting into contact with you. I don't really want my corporate interests to know I'm working with you. That could lead to trouble down the line.
Aye.
But when you're there, if you got any questions, feel free to reach out. And of course, let me know when you're done. Now, before we continue, he says, but then his voice trails off, and he raises an eyebrow as he places his index finger on his right temple. He listens for a moment, and at first you think maybe he's listening to the music in the background, but he's not bopping along to the new wave. He's receiving a communication through his RCD. He lowers his
Ghost is intercepting that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'd like you to make a knowledge test for me. Technology at a +2 if you got the skill.
Do. So that's D12?
Yep, D20 plus your knowledge plus
D20.
2 for the skill.
Yeah, so that's 16.
No, you didn't get any creds or anything, Alt. He's communicating with someone on his implant. So, Ghost, your fingers glide along the keyboard of your cyber deck, and unbeknownst to anyone else, the communication that he's receiving begins to play in your ear. Yeah. Look, they just got past the bouncer now. Looks like they've paid him off. 3 of them, and they look like they're loaded for bear. Should be coming in any second, and... Yeah, looks like they're with the Vipers. I bet the corpse got something to do with it. The communication ends. Dr. Tate, his eyebrows still raised, frowns. Looks like we got trouble, he says. He points over the din of partygoers towards the entrance of the club. And there, you see 3 gang goons dressed in green leather jackets with mohawks enter the dimly lit nightclub, their eyes scanning the crowd for potential marks. The thumping bass of the music makes it hard to hear what they're saying, but they're huddled together, whispering. One of them nudges his comrade and points across the dance floor towards the booth where you're all currently seated. And then you see all 3 of them reach for the pistols wedged in their pants as they begin to make their way towards you. Your heart begins to race as you consider the possibilities of what's about to happen here. Dr. Tate.
First up.
Yep.
What is Tate's reaction to this? Is he frantic or is he calm?
Tate seems to be mostly calm, but there's a look of slight concern on his face. His gaze drifts between the gang goons and you, and he says, He says, consider this a test of your abilities. Get me out of this fix, and I'll give you a cool 50 cred bonus here and now.
Alright. Is the table bolted to the floor? I'll go over to the edge and look.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be. It has to be bolted down. If it wasn't, someone would steal it. This is the ports.
That's fair. Where's the nearest exit?
So you scan the room. Aside from the main entrance, you see a silver metal door behind the bar. There's a glyph floating in front of it that you register in your retinal implant that reads staff only, but you imagine that would eventually lead to a back door. Aside from that, on the other side of the dance floor, between the entrance where the gang goons are and where you are now, there's a fire exit. But it would probably be locked unless someone was to trigger the fire alarm.
Okay, so at the moment, Ghost is preparing a demon to potentially scramble their, vision.
Yep.
And is also, thinking about setting off a fire alarm.
Yep.
But they're not going to do that just yet.
So you probably have 10, 20 seconds before they actually get through the dance floor and eyeball you definitively. So you've got time to sort of plan this out. Dr. Tate's just leaning back, watching you curiously, his arms folded to see how you handle this.
Alright, why don't you lot get the good doctor moving toward an exit while I go tell them it's a really bad idea what they're planning. And we'll see what they do.
Alright, what does everyone think?
Jonathan immediately starts up and puts his arm around the doctor to help guide him towards the staff exit.
Yep. So, Ghost, as you're preparing to hack into their implants, would you like to attempt a knowledge streetwise check to see if you can clock what gang they're part of?
Absolutely. So D20 again.
You did say Virid Vipers.
Oh, okay. 22.
22, yeah. As it said in the communication, you recognize the green leather jackets and the viper tattoos that each man has visible on his right forearm. Virid Vipers. Drug pushers. They're basically a corporation in all but name. They're the biggest gang in Psy. And if they're after the doc, it means that he's putting a serious cramp on their business. Or at least planning to.
First off, Ghost is sending a message to the doc asking why the fuck the big shots are on him.
He looks over at you, his eyes piercing. He shrugs and silently sends you a message. Don't worry about it, just deal with them.
And while this is going on, Kitty will be hopping from table to table toward them.
Making her way towards them while Jonathan grabs Dr. Tate, wraps his arm around him and lifts him out of the chair and begins to guide him towards... Jonathan, are you heading to the staff entrance or the fire exit?
Staff entrance,
Staff
definitely.
entrance towards the bar. Paradigm, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's gonna be... Yeah, I'll be heading similar way to where Jonathan's going, but I'm gonna be like lagging behind a bit, so I'm acting just so I can keep an eye on the gang members.
Yep. Alright. So, Kitty, you prance
On
from
the way,
table...
Kitty
on
will-
the way.
On the way, Kitty is going to grab a spare glass, put a flashbang in it, so that the glass covers it.
Nice. Drop it into your... You drop it into the glass you're holding. It splashes into the real rum. But it's hidden by the silver brim of the glass. And then you prance over the tables and jump down onto the edge of the dance floor, scurry over it, and approach the gang goons. Takes them a moment to notice you're there, but eventually one of them sees you standing in front of him and he turns around. Hey, get a load of this! It's that kitty from that old show, you know, with the dog pirates. And his comrades whirl around and one of them smiles and says, yeah, Kitty Bang Bang. Holy shit.
You've seen me memoirs.
Holy shit, didn't even know those animatronics was still hanging around. I thought they'd all been scrapped.
I'm not sure what you'd be speaking about in your giant mouth, from your giant tongues, but that's alright. So what brings you fine lads to this bar this here evening?
They look at each other, exchange glances, and you notice one of them looking over his shoulder, vaguely watching Jonathan and Paradigm lead the good doctor towards the bar. Then he shrugs and he says, nightclubs, public places. We're just here to, let our hair down.
Sure is. Well, in that case, shall we dance?
Truth is, we was here to wait for somebody.
That's a pity. Well, in that case, here, have a drink on me. And one finger pulls the pin out as I hand the glass up.
Okay, yep.
Does Ghost see this at all?
Ghost, you're probably too focused on your hacking. Well, we can see if you do. So you're currently jacked into your cyber deck because you're in hacking mode. So everything's going to be a little more difficult. So go ahead and make for me let's say a presence check. And you may add streetwise if you have it.
Lovely. Then it's 13.
13. So you see Kitty Bang Bang raising a glass, but you're not at all aware of what's in it. It just looks like she's offering them a drink, and you see the gang goons exchange glances, and then one of them leans forwards, and Kitty Bang Bang, in the moment before you pull the pin, the gang goon says, "Look, we ain't got time for this. Why don't you drag off?"
Hold that thought. One mangy butt, two mangy butt, three mangy butt, 4.
And you pull the pin. I would like... so are you going to openly pull the pin, not caring if they see, or are you going to try to pull it without them noticing?
I'm going to try it without them noticing.
Okay, so I'd like you to go ahead and make an agility check. You may add stealth if you have it.
I don't. But you know what? I'm going to glitch to reduce the DC by 4.
Yep, go ahead.
Not that I needed to. That's an 18.
So you raise your glass and you say, "Ah, well, to good times and good business," and pull the pin without them noticing. To them, as they still scan the room, as they follow Jonathan, Paradigm, and the dock, they would have just seen you dip your finger into the cup,
Stir.
possibly to stir the drink. And they only become aware that you're trying anything at all when you drop the glass, it clatters to the ground, and you turn away to protect your eyes
And run
from the...
toward the exit.
and run towards the exit as the flashbang goes off, giving them +4 to difficulty, any difficulty ratings. Well,
For
-4.
D-
So -4
To-
difficulty to your defense and attack rolls, because enemies don't roll in
For-
this game.
Yep. For 4 rounds.
Yeah, for 4 rounds.
Did that get me?
It did not get you. You're jacked into your cyber deck, and you're far enough away that it would not affect you, but you'll still get the bonus from them being stunned.
Lovely. Ghost clears the terminal that was loading up the blinding demon. It's like, you fucking stole my fucking limelight!
Bit. So, bang! The flashbang goes off, and instantly the crowd disperses on the dance floor. You can vaguely hear the sounds of terrified screams as they clear the way, the new wave music drowning out the sounds of the ensuing fight. The Gangoons scream in rage and surprise. They grab their pistols, whirl around, and start wildly firing. A couple of the nightclub patrons cop bullets in the back and go down in pools of blood. And we go to combat. Go ahead, someone, roll a d6 for me to do initiative.
Someone, or
Just
how does this
anyone.
work?
We'll say you do it, Ash.
How does it work? Sorry?
So just roll a d6.
Roll a d6.
And that's
I
the
got a
initiative. 3, okay, so that is, I believe, players go first. Sorry, bear with me, this is a new system. Yes,
Take your time.
it is indeed. Oh, 1 to 3 is enemies act first. But don't worry,
Aye.
they're still blinded from the flashbang and will be for 4 rounds. So,
Is there any reason that's not just a coin flip?
No, it's just how it works. It's 1 to 3 enemies go first, 4 to 6 players go first.
There's no modifiers that can go
There
there?
are situations where it can be, but for the most part, it's just a flat initiative. But don't worry, you'll see how the combat works in a second, and you'll realise that actually you have the advantage here because of the flashbang.
Okay.
So, as they pull out their guns and begin to fire wildly, we go to combat, and I've got the wrong playlist here. I need to go to the action playlist. Okay. So, one of them, he can just make out Kitty Bang Bang's silhouette in the haze of both neon light from the club and the lingering afterglow of the flashbang. He raises his pistol and lets off some 10mm rounds towards Kitty. So Kitty Bang Bang, go ahead and roll defense for me, which is just agility. However, if you have the acrobatics skill, you may add this to dodge range attacks.
I do. And I am also small,
Yes.
which adds +1 to him.
Yes, you're getting
So
+3
that's,
from your skill and your smallness, in addition to whatever your agility is, and
0, sadly.
But the difficulty rating is reduced by 4 because they are stunned. So you only need to get an 8 to avoid being hit.
With an
and,
18,
Jonathan's bodyguard gives everyone a -2 DR to all dodges.
Ooh, okay, so yeah,
Lovely.
so only 6. How much did you get?
with that, that's 18.
18. Bang, bang,
Or 20.
bang! You duck under a nearby table as the 10mm bullets shred the wallpaper behind you and shatter a neon tube. The second one is vaguely aware of Jonathan and the doc making their way towards the staff entrance. He whirls around, raises his gun, and fires at Jonathan. Jonathan, go ahead and roll agility. And if you have acrobatics, you may add this to this roll. Otherwise, you just have to get -4, -2. You just have to get 6 to not get hit.
So rolling means just a d20 plus modifier, right?
D20 plus your stat, plus 2 if you have the appropriate skill, which would be acrobatics in this case.
He doesn't have acrobatics, but he does roll a 2.
Does roll only a 2?
Only a 2. And any minuses.
Yeah. So.
Oh, actually no.
However,
that's a 4. Sorry.
Yeah.
However,
you can,
if you like,
you can spend one of your glitches to either re-roll that die to do it again, or lower the test's DR by -4. It's already been lowered by -6 from the flashbang and your bodyguard ability. So if you want, you can spend one of your glitches to re-roll that, because rolling a 2 will not allow you to dodge. You will get hit.
Yeah, I'll re-roll that dice. I don't want him getting hit, like, in the very first real combat scene.
Yeah, go ahead. But this is a dangerous game. You could possibly die in a single shot.
That's a 20.
That's a 20, yeah.
It's a bit better.
So you grab the doctor and throw him down behind the bar as you duck, and you hear the bullet slam, smashing the glass on the other side. The third Gangoon takes a shot at the only other person he can see, who is Paradigm. So Paradigm, go ahead and roll to dodge. D20 plus agility, plus acrobatics if you have it.
I do not, so it's just D20. Yeah. 13, so that's success, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a success, because of their DR is reduced by 6 currently. You lower yourself and crawl behind the bar where Jonathan and the doc are, as another bullet sails over your head and smashes a bottle of new vodka that pours out onto the tiles. Alright, now it's your guys' turn.
Okay, first up.
Yep.
What are the rest of the patrons at the club doing?
So the rest of the patrons are scrambling for cover, but some of them are running around aimlessly. At least 2 of them lie in pools of blood on the dance floor, caught in the crossfire.
Okay, and it doesn't look like the goons have been particularly interested in Ghost yet.
Doesn't
So
seem like
Ghost is gonna-
Ghost is there.
They have. Okay.
It doesn't seem like they've clocked that Ghost is there. They're focusing on the doctor.
Oh, okay, it doesn't, okay. Ghost is going to try and act like every other patron there and just hide, but not look like they're engaging in anything as they keep on hacking.
Yep, alright. So first of all, I'll ask you to make a presence check. If you have Persuade, you may add that.
Which not. Oh, that's just an 8.
An 8.
I have 2 streetwise.
No, you don't need that, because the DR is reduced by 4 because of the flashbang. So an 8, which reduces it exactly to 8, so you pass. So you clamber out of the booth and trying your best to conceal your cyber deck in your coat. You dash into the nearest crowd of panicking revelers and use the crowd to hide you as you lean against a nearby wall, whip out your cyber deck and continue typing. Would you like to get an app off?
Yes. Who amongst us is best for agility and strength?
Jonathan has +2 agility.
Mm-hmm. Anyone got strength?
I've got
got
+1
0.
strength.
+1 strength. And Kitty Bang Bang
And what's your agility
Yeah.
paradigm?
Agility 0.
Okay.
So either Jonathan or Paradigm would be good, probably.
Ghost's intuition would definitely be going towards overcharging paradigm before Jonathan.
Alright, go ahead and make
So you get
well, first we're going to see if the app goes off. Go ahead and make me a knowledge test, and you may add your technology skill to it.
Yeah. That's 12.
12, lovely, just what you needed. Your cyber deck whirs as you hit the button and execute the app. So until the next day, the chance of getting a fumble goes up by +1, and suddenly it appears as if Jonathan is moving with supernatural speed. He's not. Your apps can't affect the real world, but they can affect the surface level web that's being pumped through everyone's retinal implants. So
It's
everyone in this nightclub perceives Jonathan as being able to move in a blur.
Oh, I think it was going to Paradigm, not Jonathan.
Paradigm? Yeah, to Paradigm, sorry.
Awesome. So that gives you plus D6 on all agility and strength tests.
Yeah. So
For me, that's for 4 rounds.
yeah, so I will roll the d6 for you, Paradigm. That is 4. Giving you an agility of +6. Alright, Paradigm, we'll go to you next.
Well, it's... No, it'll be +4, because my agility was originally 0.
Oh, yeah, so +4.
But I
which
now
is
have
still
+5
good.
strength.
Yeah, +5 strength.
Yep.
Okay, then that will slightly alter what I was going to do, but yeah, whatever. Instead, Paradigm was originally going to reach for his gun to fire back, but now feeling that surge to the surface web or whatever has happened to him, he's instead going to run at one of the guys and try and hack at them with his machete.
Yeah, good idea.
Hell yeah.
So you leap over the bar and sprint onto the dance floor towards one of the gang goons, and he fires his gun at you as you come past. Bang, bang! But he's aiming to where you were a split second ago, and before he's able to properly account for this, you're right in front of him, raising your machete. Go ahead and roll for me a strength test. You may add melee if you have it.
While this is happening, Ghost is getting a visual relay from Paradigm's implants.
Yep.
You want to see this first person?
Sure can. It's beaming right into your implants right now. You're probably... If I didn't know Ghost better, I'd say Ghost is probably live streaming it to some place on the dark web or something.
Record snuff films. That's
my next character.
16 on the strength
well,
test.
you only needed 8 to hit him, so yeah, you hit him. Go ahead, roll damage.
Cool. D6 on a machete. For a 3.
For a 3. You stick your machete into his gut and he gurgles. You pull it out, and he falls to the ground, bleeding to death in seconds in front of you. Alright, Jonathan, you're up. What would you like to do?
Ghost sends a little message to Paradigm saying, dude, that was fucking metal.
Jonathan leans over to Tate and says, do you care if we bust some heads? Do their lives mean anything to you?
Tate shrugs and he says, I don't care. If you want to make a break for it, I'll make a break for it. If you want to take him out, take him out. Either way, you get me out of this alive, you got the bonus.
In that case, Jonathan sighs, wishing he didn't have to keep fucking doing this in this fucking city, and pulls out his assault rifle.
Takes aim at one of them, leans over the bar, and fires. Go ahead and roll for me a presence test, and you may add your firearms if you have it.
I
your
have guns.
Yeah, guns,
Yeah,
that's what
cool.
I mean.
So is that a +2 by
It's a
guns?
+2, yes.
That is a 14.
14, that's a hit. Go ahead, roll your damage.
Now, I don't actually have a D8, so I'm going to go find one online.
You can roll one in Owlbear.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Oh, right, you can, of course.
It's got the full range of dice.
That's a 7 then.
7.
Oh.
I don't know what trauma team you were a part of, but you hit him square between the eyes, and his head shatters, blowing apart like a blood sausage. The headless body gushes gore for a couple of seconds before it slumps to the ground. And by the way, Ghost, you're getting a direct feed of this from Jonathan's retinal implants.
Alright. Maybe he's got a little more to offer than they thought.
Okay, Kitty Bang Bang, you're up.
Well, I was just clearing the way so we could run, but I suppose this minimizes them shooting innocents.
Yeah, there's only
and
one
if
of
they're
them
all
left
dead.
now.
Well, I'm going to run, pretty much run, leap onto him, grab his shirt, and jam the barrel of the shotgun under his head.
And pull
Sorry,
the trigger.
lad. Lights out, my boy.
Go ahead, presence test and add guns if you got it.
I don't.
Oh yes. Good old double barrel uppercut.
So this is just a flat D20.
Yep, with your
but I get a 12. And
12,
that's enough.
yep, and the flashbang is in effect. 12's enough, and 12 would have been enough even without the flashbang, because that's the standard difficulty rating. Bang! Roll your damage. And I'll allow you to add +3 to whatever your damage is because of the close range.
That's good, because I rolled a 1, so that's 4.
4 damage. You shove the barrel up under his neck, but up under his chin. But he jumps back at just the last moment, just as you pull the trigger, and bang! Ah! He screams as you shred his right cheek. But for the most part, the buckshot misses him, and he's still on his feet, somehow miraculously alive. Around you, several of the revelers let out shocked screams, the ones who aren't watching with bated breath anyway, as the new wave music continues pounding around you.
And I'm thrown off him by the recoil, hit the floor, roll, and back up on my feet.
Yep, back up onto your feet. Okay. It is the enemy's turn, and so he's close enough to you that he dispenses with his gun. He reaches into his belt, whips out a machete, and just charges you at it. And he says, "You going to pay for that, cat?"
Oh,
Go ahead.
great.
Go ahead and roll for me agility to dodge. You may add your athletics if you have it to dodge.
I do. And I am small. Actually, it's not athletics to dodge, it's melee.
Oh yeah,
parry.
melee, yes, to parry, yeah. Go
As I
ahead.
bring the broken bottle around.
Parry his machete. What do you roll?
4, I'm going to glitch.
Glitch, yep.
That won't do it, because I need an 8.
Yep, you
Right.
need at least an 8.
Worse.
Oof. So he hits...
Well, can I glitch it?
If
Can
you,
I glitch again?
You can use as many glitches as you have.
This is gonna take me down to 1.
But you don't recover glitches until the next time you sleep, so... But if he does hit you, you can also use a glitch to reduce the damage.
Actually, you know what? I'll just take the hit and see what comes.
Take the hit. So you go to parry him with the broken bottle. The machete comes down, shatters the bottle in your hand, and then he smiles as he raises the machete and brings it down into your torso, slashing you for... let me see. I'm going to clear the dice space so they don't add together. And that is going to be 5 points of damage.
Alright, well, my armor knocks that down to 4, so I sit down hard. Bump!
Yeah, you're not going to reduce it with a glitch. Just happy
Actually,
to
I
take the
will
fall.
reduce it with a glitch. Actually, I will reduce it with the glitch.
Go ahead.
How do I do that?
So just roll a d4, and that's how much you reduce it by.
Alright. Reduced by 3, and then the armor eats up the rest.
Yes, you take 1 point of damage.
Yeah, 1 point.
So he manages to cut the edge of your sailor's jacket and pierce the fur underneath, revealing a shining metal plate, but not doing any serious damage. Okay.
Har!
Haha, you parry. Now we'll go to Paradigm, since he's right here in melee range. What would you like to do, Paradigm? And you are still boosted from Ghost's app.
Yep. I'm going to continue the blood slaughter and try and slash this guy.
Go ahead, roll me a strength test. Add melee.
Paradigm is unhinged. What is this? 5, so it makes it a 15.
15, that's definitely a hit. Roll your damage.
Yeah. Why don't I put my d6 away? Oh, it's only a 2.
It's only a 2. Only 2 damage. He only had 1 HP left, though, so as he's recoiling from striking Kitty Bang Bang, you rush forwards and just stab your machete into his gut.
Actually, can I?
Yep, go ahead, narrate it if you like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I spin around from the last guy, and as I rush over, I bring my machete down, cutting the hand he's holding his machete with off, and then as it's falling, catch it, and then I'm going to jam it in his gut.
Yeah. He gurgles on the end of your blade. Oh! And then you withdraw your blade, shing! And he falls to the ground. And just like that, combat is over.
And the blade gets withdrawn from his gut as Kitty flicks the blood off it. Upgrade.
The new wave music continues pounding, and you've barely had a second to catch your breath before you see the cannon-armed bouncer bursting through the entrance, surveying the area, and raising his...
I think it's time to go.
Raising his non-augmented hand, barking an order. Some people in grey uniforms, probably working for some sort of set corp, dart out of a door next to the bar, and one of them grabs the bodies, and they begin to just drag the bodies off the dance floor as if they were just bags of trash that someone had left behind. But they're probably going to want to ask questions, which means it's time to go. But before it's time to go, there is something we have to do after every combat, and that is anyone who got hurt may roll a d4 to take a short break and recover some of their health. So that would just be you, Kitty Bang Bang, I believe.
Yep.
And you don't have to roll because you've only lost 1 health, so you can.
Yeah, and the food only takes me. The food can't be healed, so
yeah. The baking thing only comes into play when you sleep and have a proper rest. This is just the short rest that happens at the end of combat. And anyone who fired a weapon, which would be you, Jonathan, rolls a d8. And if it's 1 to 3, that means you exhausted your clip and need to reload.
Which I do.
Ah, yes.
Yep, Jonathan needs to as well, apparently.
Yeah. So Jonathan slams in a new clip as Kitty Bang Bang pops open the barrel, slides new shells in, and recoups, joining Jonathan and the doc behind the bar. Ghost, you unjack yourself from the cyber deck, sling it back over your shoulder, and rush through the crowd, rejoining the others just as Paradigm steps up behind you.
Yeah, actually, Ghost runs over to Paradigm and standing awkwardly close to them was like, "Whoa, senpai, that was ninjas! Shit!"
I don't know what you hit me with, but I can't understand what you're saying anymore.
She just sort of wiggles back and forth on her balls of her feet.
As Ghost fully unjacks, pulling the cord out of her retinal implant, the app wears off and Paradigm's movements slow back to normal. Oh, shit, says Doc Tate. Fuck. I don't want to get... I can't afford to spend the night answering questions to the Set Corps. Let's get out of here, he says, as he stands up and rushes to the staff entrance, grabs the door handle and shoves it open. Do you follow him?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That was the
absolutely.
original plan.
So as you burst through the door, you come face to face with one of the servers. She raises her hands and shouts, "Ah!" as she sees you enter. And Kitty Bang Bang just raises a single hand. She steps aside, pressing against the wall as you rush past her towards the back exit, following the glowing green sign. You burst.
Raise the hat as we go.
Raise the hat to it. Raise the hat to her. You burst out of the door into a cramped, garbage-strewn alleyway behind the nightclub. And as you look around, you see someone leaning against the brick wall of the building in front of you at the mouth of the alleyway. She smiles as she looks up. This femme fatale is a striking figure with long dark hair and piercing green eyes. She's dressed in a tight-fitting black dress that accentuates her curves, paired with high heels and long gloves. She has a cybernetic implant on her neck, like a choker that glows a subtle red. As she beckons you to come to her, she moves with a fluid grace, carrying herself with cool confidence. I'm going to put a picture up in owlbear of her.
No, I'm not getting pictures.
Yeah, it'll take a second probably to load. I'll do it again. I'll swap again. Hang on. Swap to the dock since you've seen him, and then I'll swap back to her.
Yeah, he loaded.
Oh, shit, says Doc Tate. Last person I needed to bloody see.
Ah, you know her.
Indeed I do, he says. And she's been on my ass about that fucking studio for a month now. Said if I was gonna get some guys to break in, then she'd have something else she'd want to add. Was hoping I'd give her the slip. Don't want her to poach you from under me nose, but here we are. He looks around. Could give her the slip, I suppose, he says, pointing to the other side of the alleyway that leads out onto a busy street where there are hover cars and bikes zooming a blur past you.
She's not for violence, she's just for talking, is what you're saying.
He shrugs. Just for talking. But I didn't want any distractions to come up. Distract you from the job, that's all.
Ah! Oi there, Lassie. We be in a bit of a rush, so, please do be starting to talk then.
She smiles and she says...
Parley! Start your parley!
Cute, she says. Very cute. She sighs, reaches into
I could
a
say
pocket,
the same!
pulls out an e-cig, sticks it in her mouth, and starts to vape all over you. Vera Coilson, she says, holding out a hand.
It gets shaken. Captain Kitty Bang Bang.
She says, look, I'm not looking to poach the job that Tate just gave you. But, see, I sell old data on the black market. I got quite a good through line on old brain dancers and other things scrounged from the bottom of forgotten data nodes. And I've had my eye on that old recording studio for a while. Place like that, they gotta have bits of emergency surgery that didn't make it into the live show. Bloopers that'd sell for quite a bit on the dark web.
You want the bloopers reel?
I sure do, she blinks. Or she winks at you and she says, and I'd be willing to give 100 creds to each of you if you're able to do it.
Well, if it comes up, we might be willing to send it your way, but 100 seems awfully low since we're going to be busy that night. I think you can sweeten the deal.
Bloody hell, says Tate, raising a withered hand to his head. You're gonna be hacking into the data node in the basement of that place to get the property deed for me. You go searching for her shit, there's gonna be even more chance that Black Ice is gonna come swarming down on you. True,
Well.
she says, true. Go ahead for me, kitty, and make a
See.
presence persuade check for me.
I'm hearing a ton of risk and not really much reward. Come on, 100 apiece. But a 9 won't cut it.
9, would you like to glitch?
No, I'm down to 1 glitch. I'm saving that.
She smiles, winks again, takes a puff of her e-cig. And as she talks, she speaks with a sultry voice, carefully, quietly. Her words are carefully chosen. You get the impression that she is a master of manipulation and deception, using her charm and beauty to get what she wants. Vera coils and folds her arms, and she says, 100 creds, take it or leave it. It's not like I'm asking you to hack the Sec Corps. I'm asking for old garbage film data that's probably just going to be lying around everywhere in the node. Your Decker will pick it up just by jacking in. No danger at all. So she says Tate.
Well, regardless, we don't be having time for this, so give us your contact info, and if we find anything, we might be persuaded to send it your way.
She winks.
We can discuss it later.
She winks and her face appears in your retinal implants. It fades away as the words contact added blink. Sure, call me anytime. Oh, and I happen to have some friends in the slums, so hey, do this for me. Maybe there might be favors down the path for you.
Always down for favors from a pretty lass.
She smiles as she turns and walks past you, her high heels echoing in the alleyway. She walks slowly, seductively towards the blur of traffic beyond, and just before she reaches the mouth of the alleyway, she stops, looks over her shoulder and says, "Oh, by the way, I was hacked into the feed of one of the retinal implants. One of the staff members inside. Sorry how quickly you cleaned up those gang goons. Could have use for you. Stay in touch."
They didn't give us much choice.
And then she rounds the corner, allowing you to step out of the other side of the alleyway and make your way to the parking lot, where the stolen taxi and the motorcycle are parked.
I don't like her.
Ghosts don't like her.
Just don't like her.
Yeah, of course.
You're the one who'd be doing the work for us, so
Yeah,
I think it's up to you.
Your call at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're the one who'd be doing the hacking, so
I'm gonna get the info whether or not she pays me. It depends whether she gets it.
Oh,
you get
tis
the
fair.
sense what she's offering in payment isn't a lot, but she could be someone who's useful to have as a friend or contact, so if you want to stay in her good books, the choice is there. And as you make your way to your vehicles, you walk past Tech Noir. The line is still waiting out front. It seems to be even longer than before, nearly reaching the end of the block. And as the bouncer's not there to let anyone in, it's getting longer and longer. And just as you pass, hearing the grumbles of the patrons complaining about how they haven't yet been let in, you see the front door open, and two of the SecCorp goons walk out, carrying between them one of the bodies of... the body of one of the Vipers, wrapped in a black body bag. They give you a neutral look as they shuffle past you into the alleyway, hoist open the dumpster, and throw him in. As they slam the dumpster lid down, one of them says, "Good riddance. Always trash in this damn city."
When they're gone, Ghost is gonna open the dumpster up and see if they have any good chrome on them.
Yeah. So you pop it open, have a look at the bodies that have been dumped in there, and aside from their retinal implants, they're actually not augmented at all.
Fucking bio boys. Alright, let's go.
They might have other stuff though.
Yeah, alright, she checks their pockets and shit.
Yeah. You figure you've got the dumpster open and the others are waiting over in the car lot. No one's watching. So you start fumbling around in their pockets and... if not chrome, maybe they'll have something good. Like drugs, you think. And sure enough, out of one of the pockets, you pull out a small leather bag. And inside are 6, count 'em, identical looking white pills. But there's no indication of what they could possibly be.
Can I run a check on if
Sure
I might
can.
know?
You can make a knowledge check, and if you have science, you can add that.
Also
Cool,
point out
Sarah.
we'd be traveling
Can I add
with 2
streetwise?
doctors.
Oh yeah, you can add streetwise, yeah, because you might have seen these drugs.
22.
And we'd be traveling with 2 doctors, just so you know.
Yes.
Sure.
So
26.
these are bullseye pills. Bullseye is a drug it's quite. You recognize it almost instantly. It's quite popular amongst the Decker communities, and it was originally created to be sold to corporate programmers, IT folks, and university students under the pump during exams. It's said to improve concentration and brain response times, and indeed, if you pop a bullseye, all tests relying on concentration, such as sniping or using apps, are -2 difficulty rating for D10 minutes.
Ghost flashes the bag to everyone, and
Yeah,
for
what she
once
would
his
say.
voice converges in all of your ears as you hear an old cowboy say, "Bullseye!" and there's a gun firing noise.
As you clamber into the stolen taxi, and Paradigm takes his seat on his old motorcycle. Do any of you wish to take any of this bullseye for yourself? 6 pills in the bag, more than enough to go around. Unless, of course, Ghost, you want to keep them all.
Yeah, they can ask.
Yeah.
So, I'll ask you, Jonathan, to make a knowledge
Don't
plus medicine check for me. As
Don't do
Yeah, I was going to say
don't do
something about
drugs,
that.
kids. As Ghost starts to proffer the pills out in the back seat, holding out the bag, asking if anyone wants any.
This is 17.
17. So Bullseye's useful for the first or maybe even the second dose. But you shouldn't take too much of it, because it has a really nasty downer. And that is, it inflicts brain fog for double the time that it improved concentration, making tests relying on concentration harder. This probably won't happen the first time or the second time you take it, but take it too many times, and you might just end up as another bake brain on the streets who can't even hit the broadside of a barn with their military-grade surplus weaponry.
He's definitely going to relay that onto them. Look, if we're going to be working together, please, for the love of God, don't take too much of this stuff. I need you to be reliable. I don't want to fucking die in this fucking hole.
Ghost looks him dead in the eye and pops one.
Ghost takes one. And instantly, Ghost, your neurons begin firing at double speed. For the next 8 minutes, concentration checks are much easier for you. And that's good, because as the stolen taxi begins to reverse out of the parking lot, and The old motorcycle follows behind it, and they merge into the traffic and begin to drive through the neon-soaked streets once more. Doc Tate frowns. Shit, he says. He's peering at the rearview mirror of the taxi, and you all glance at it too. And there you see a run-down, turn-of-the-century lowrider, painted bright green, at least in parts where it's not flecked with rust, turning out of a side street, following you.
Does it be flying Viper colors?
Seems so. It is bright green, though you can't see any Viper insignia. And the windows are tinted deep black. You can't see who's inside.
Pilot, can we shake him?
You could
What do you
try.
mean, can we lose them in a taxi? It's very unlikely.
You could try.
Anything hackable?
Well,
I mean, Jonathan will be trying anyway, regardless of how fast the taxi can go.
let's put it this way. This car that's following you is quite old. It's so old that most of the green paint jobs flecked away with rust. But the Vipers, despite being gang goons, do not equip their men with junk. It is likely that at least some of this car has been retrofitted with more modern components. And of course, Paradigm, on your motorbike, you could probably outspeed it without a problem.
Okay, Ghost is running a pulse to scan whatever systems it has.
Yep. So Ghost, you reach into your coat, pull out the cyber cord from your deck, plug it into your retinal implant, and the reams of code start speeding across your vision once again as the lower layers of the web, the things beyond the surface, envelop you. I'd like you to go ahead and make a knowledge test for me. You may add your technology, and it's a -2 because of the bullseye you're currently on, so you only need 10 to pass.
Oh, that's a shame. I rolled 6.
6. So, as your would you like to spend a glitch to re-roll it? I'll ask first.
Can you get glitches back?
Yeah, every time you go to sleep, you get to roll to get glitches back.
Then yeah.
Yeah, alright, go ahead, re-roll it.
Let's see what I get. Oh my god, you're joking. 7.
7. You can spend as many glitches as you like, but I'm unsure how much you want to spend.
Nah, fuck that.
Alright. So, your fingers glide over the keyboard as the code swirls, and in your vision, the car lights up as if encased in a wireframe digital vector model from 2 centuries ago. You see several access points in the vehicle, the engine, the dashboard, the ECU, but just as you're about to pick one of them to hack into, you see what in your vision appears to be a smiling devil face, bright red, baring its fangs from inside of the car. It laughs. And the ice that's installed in the car overloads your connection and deals 3 points of damage to you.
Ah, motherfucker!
The jolt of electricity surges through your body, and you wrench the cord out of your retinal implant to save yourself from being brain blasted.
Okay, they've got some serious ice.
Alright, let's try a different tactic.
Let's do it!
Let me know when we pass a drone trucker.
Now that you've tried to hack them, they know that you know they're there, and so sure enough, the headlights flare, the engine roars, vroom, and the car begins to speed up.
So I'm gonna roll down the window and get on the left-hand side and say, pass a drone trucker on the left-hand side, would ya?
Very well. As they speed up, a sleek silver hovercar swerves to get out of the way and nearly collides head-on with a nearby streetlight. Jonathan, would you like to would you like to try to escape them or let them catch up so that Kitty Bang Bang can take a shot?
Oh, I'm not shooting at them.
Not shooting at them, just a drone truck. Alright, you want to speed up, see if you can find a drone truck and pull up next to it?
So the plan is to
Best idea
basically
is-
pop... Basically, the plan is to pop the tires of a big truck we're passing to get it to swerve and crunch the
Ah, yeah.
car.
So you just need to keep driving till you find a garbage truck or something. They're called drone trucks because no one drives them, you know, that's...
Yep.
You know, corporations don't want to waste money paying people to drive a truck to pick up garbage. No, the trucks follow a pre-programmed route through the city. And in fact, if one of you would like to make a knowledge streetwise check, you might be able to determine where the nearest garbage route might be.
What's Kitty's knowledge?
+1, so I'll give it a try since I suggested the
Yeah,
plan.
streetwise.
No.
Alright, go ahead.
Yeah, we're about equal.
But I
then.
can roll a nat 20.
I've got
Yeah.
+1, +2 streetwise.
That's alright, Kitty rolled a nat
Oh.
20. So,
So with a nat 20, there's one.
yeah, so Kitty, you realise, you
Ugh.
remember back in your days when you were a mascot in Doggy Bag. Part of your duties, because, you know, an animatronic wasn't just an animatronic, you had to fill the roles of several minimum wage employees as well. A cost-cutting measure by Alienson Incorporated. You were responsible for getting the refuse at the end of the day out to the nearest garbage truck pickup point. And you call up the map in your mind, and a map of the ports of Psy flashes in front of you in your retinal implant, and you realise that you're on the very edge of a garbage route. There's one only 3 blocks away. You can make a beeline straight
blocks.
forward. Yep. You just have to hope they can't catch you. Meanwhile, Paradigm, what are you doing? Because you're
Hey.
on the motorcycle, and they don't seem to be chasing you. They're chasing the taxi.
Yeah, and you said their car still has tires, doesn't it? Like
It does
regular
still have-
tires.
yeah, it's just a regular car.
Yeah.
You can try to take a shot at their tires if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or, if I remember correctly, your nano power is remote control, is it not?
That's
No, that's Kitty's.
Oh, yeah, that's Kitty's, yeah. What's your nano power?
Mine's what is it? Dead Cell Spirits.
Ah, Dead Cell Spirits, yeah. So probably
Yeah,
not
it's
probably
not a very
useful
proactive
in
one.
this situation.
I think you also still have a round or 2 of overcharge.
Well, no, that would... because it's a different scene now, so...
Different scene,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, so, what would you like to do? Just take a shot at their tire?
Yeah, just as we go and try and sort of do like a loop around just as I spin around, try and fire at one of their tires.
Yep. And I presume, Ghost, you don't have to be jacked into your cyber deck for this, but sensing that more shooting's about to happen, you're jacking right into Paradigm's retinas again.
Yep.
Yeah. So, the thing with Cyborgs, because this is an OSR game, there doesn't need to be a rule for it. If we think something's cool, we can just make up what happens, and I can make up a rule on the spot. Rulings over rules. For everyone who's unaware, we're actually playing Zero Edition D&D right now. This is what was released in the 70s and 80s, and Cyberpunk is just... Cyborg is basically just reskinned old D&D. And back then, the rules were sort of just a framework. It was down to the Dungeon Master, or in this case, the Game Master, to basically adjudicate what happens based on what they think would happen. So...
Ah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
So if you can't find a rule for something, it doesn't mean you can't do it. It'll just be down to whether I think it's appropriate. So, we'll go with Paradigm first. Go ahead and make a presence check with guns to see if you can shoot out 1 or 2 of their tires.
Yeah. That is... what's that? 16 total.
16 total, that's a hit.
Yeah.
Bang! Go ahead, roll damage for me, and I'll determine the number of tires you hit based on how much damage you roll.
2.
2. So as the taxi speeds up ahead of you and the green lowrider picks up its pace, You slow down a bit, letting your engine idle, and as the car draws closer, you reach into your cloak, pull out your gun, and fire. Bang! 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 Hitting one of the tyres at the front. The lowrider squeals as the driver desperately swerves left and right, trying to regain control of the vehicle. And then, Paradigm, now that they know that you're not their friend, you grip the handlebar and rev the engine, driving as fast as you can as one of the tinted windows winds down and a gang goon leans out, tracking you in his sights and firing. Go ahead, Paradigm. Make an agility test for me to dodge, and if you have the drive skill, you may add to that.
Nope, so... 14?
14, that's more than enough. You needed 12.
Oh.
You rev the engine, vroom, as the gun fires, bang, and you speed away. The bullet hits the windscreen of a nearby street sweeper, and the grizzled old man inside begins to shout, "Ah! Ah, what the hell? What the hell?" as you speed past. Okay, it's up to you, Jonathan. You've got to lead them into the danger zone without getting caught. I'd like you to go ahead and make an agility test for me, and if you have drive, you may add that.
That's 7. That's not doing so well.
7? Would you like to spend a glitch? The DR is reduced by 2 because Paradigm shot out a tyre, so you only need to get 10 to pass.
Yeah, I'll use a glitch for that. Let's go
ahead.
through that. Much better, 18.
18. You grab the steering wheel and wrench it to the right, careening around a corner as Kitty Bang Bang shouts out directions. The green...
I'll glance over to Ghost. Roll down to the other window. Get ready to take a shot on your side. One of us is bound to hit the tire. On my order!
Ghost draws their old-timey revolver.
Yep, draws the old-timey revolver as the window automatically rolls down. All Ghost has to do is raise a hand. The green Viper car struggles to keep up with you. It struggles to round the corner with a flat tyre that's even now spraying out air into the dirty street. But its engine is strong enough that it's able to keep you in its sights. Brute force. It doesn't need finesse. But Jonathan, you're swift and you're smart. Keenly guiding your stolen taxi, swerving through hover cars, street sweepers, and old bicycles making their way down the street, managing to keep the green car in the rearview mirror, but far enough away at all times that they can't take a shot at you. Then you reach the end of the road, and seeing a main street ahead of you, the edge of the garbage route, you wrench the car to the left, the tyres squeal as you barrel out onto one of Psy's many highways, and ahead of you, you see it. The big, hulking, silver monstrosity that is a drone garbage truck. The word Allianson stamped into its plates and into the body itself. And as you draw nearer to it, becoming parallel to the drone truck, Kitty Bang Bang and Ghost raise their weapons. Go ahead, both of you make presence checks.
On me, mark. Broadsides!
Broadsides, fire! Presence checks, you may add guns if you have it.
Only a 3.
Oh, motherfucker, I rolled a 1.
Ooh, spend glitches.
Reroll.
Yeah, I'm re-rolling that.
However, if you don't mind waiting another round, Paradigm can get close enough to fire at it too.
I'd probably just miss on a 1, yeah?
Yeah. Well, a 1 is a fumble, but I will let it slide this time because it's not combat, it's just firing at a thing. So yeah, you just miss.
Okay, I'll just let that slide this time.
Yeah. So you fire
Save
your
us,
gun a few
Paradigm.
times. Bang! 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 Emptying most of your revolver's barrel, trying to hit the thing, but only managing to shoot out a street light just in front of it. And Kitty Bang
Oh, piece
Bang
of shit!
I got a 3. So
got a 3. Alright.
that's a miss.
So, you scream past the truck, firing at it, but unable to strike true. Your eyes narrow as you look into the rearview mirror, and Doc Tate begins whispering, "Come on," as you see the old-fashioned motorcycle drawing closer and closer as Paradigm reaches into his coat and pulls out his gun. Behind him, the car continues careening forwards as fast as it can, gaining on you as you had to slow down to take a shot at the drone truck. Alright, Paradigm, first I'm going to get you to roll a dodge. The DR is -1 because of their tyre being shot out. Go ahead. Roll me a agility check, and you may add drive if you have it.
Yep, so we'll see how this goes. It's a 14 on the dodge.
Yeah.
Whew.
You rev the engine, vroom, as someone leans out of the window and fires at you, and their bullets pound into the cracked asphalt behind you. The stolen taxi's already a car's length ahead past the drone garbage truck that hisses as its AI activates and it begins to lumber towards you. Go ahead to make me a presence gun checks, Paradigm.
That should hopefully still be enough. That's 14.
14, that's a hit.
Total again. E.
You take aim, slowing down your motorcycle just enough. Just long enough to give you that fraction you need to aim right at the gleaming gas tank on the drone truck's underside. Bang! You fire. Your bullet slams into the gas tank. Sparks fly as gasoline or cyber fluid, whatever powers these things, begins to leak out onto the street, and then you rev your motorcycle, tearing down the street, catching up with your friends in the stolen taxi. And as both of your vehicles reach the end of the highway and see an oncoming off-ramp that leads down into one of the in-betweens, the places that are made up of endless apartment tenements, gentrified coffee shops, the place where the corporate slaves are stored. No, where the corporate slaves live, I should say. You see the green Viper car draw parallel to the garbage truck just as a spark flies from the gas tank onto the trail of fuel behind the truck, and then whoosh! Flames lash the bottom of the cyber truck, and then the gas tank explodes, hitting the green Viper car with the full force of its shockwave, causing it to careen forwards. The tires squeal as the car flips on its side and then lands with a thump on its roof, bouncing on the asphalt. Other cars...
Not what I planned, but acceptable.
Other cars squeal to a stop as horns begin to drone. Beep! Beep! As you turn onto the off-ramp, and this scene of chaos and destruction disappears behind the corner of a high-rise apartment building.
Yeah!
Paradigm is just laughing maniacally as he drives away.
Doc Tate
Good.
wipes his brow.
They're hard after you, Doc. You need to go to ground for a bit.
I know where to go, he says. He leans forwards. Drop me here. We're in the in-betweens. It should be safe. I know a couple of people who've got apartments around here. Should be able to lie low for a couple of days till you get the job done.
Yeah, about that job, be there a time limit?
I was hoping you'd get it done tonight if possible, but if you
I'll see.
if you need a day or two to prepare, go ahead. But
I'll look toward the person who's like fountaining blood from his nose.
yeah, yeah. You look over at Ghost, who's like, there's a rivulet of bright crimson blood just gushing out of their nose onto the seat of the taxi.
But what should I be remembering?
Just remember, someone's got it in for me, and now they got it in for you, so longer you leave it, the more time they're gonna have to prepare their next attack. Vipers are out to get us. He leaves it at that, but you get the impression he knows full well why the Vipers are after him.
Tain't the first time I've had surly snakes trying to vipe me out.
They got it in for me, and, well, I'm cramping their business. Let's just leave it at that. He says, maybe you do me proud, give me a place to work out of, and we'll handle the Viper question later. Jonathan's taxi comes to a stop on the side of a curb, and before Tate gets out of the taxi, brushes dust and grime off the front of his wrinkled lab coat. Alright, let me know when you're making a move to the old vid studio. And if there's anything I can do to help you prepare, you know where to find me. He winks, and he says, don't stiff me on this. Ivan said you guys know how to get a job done, and I'm counting on you. Don't make Ivan look bad.
We shook on it, mate. It will happen. One way or t'other.
He slams the door shut, and then steps off the curb, blending in to the crowd of passing wage slaves. And that's where we'll end this session. But before we end it, everyone who fired a weapon during that chase, go ahead, roll a d8 for me, and on a 1 to 3, you need to reload. So
I got a 2.
2, so you
I
need
do
to
not.
reload. And Paradigm,
6, so I do
6.
not.
Okay, so the only one who needs to reload is Ghost, slamming a new barrel loader into the revolver.
One shit shot. Also, the good doctor is going to receive a message titled "Open Me Alone."
And what does it say?
It will be to the effect of, I know nobody's gotten this, gotten to their 50s being that much of a saint. What are you really looking at this into this for? I can cut you a deal.
So I'd like you to go ahead and make for me a presence persuasion check.
Can I use a glitch?
Yeah, you can use a glitch. You can use a glitch to either reduce the difficulty rating from 12 to 4, or you can use a glitch to just re-roll altogether.
I'll go 12 to 4 and it's a pass with 5.
Right.
Oh,
So-
12 to 8, but yeah.
So hours
12 to
later... Yeah,
12 to 8.
Yeah.
I'll re-roll then.
re-roll. Go ahead. 12 to 8,
I got a 14.
14,
There
yeah.
you go.
Well, you would have passed anyway. Yeah. So, hours later, as the night begins to wind down, as the sky above turns pink, not with neon and floating ads that constantly bombards the population of Psy, but with the first rays of sunlight. Doc Tate in the spare bedroom of an in-betweens apartment where he's lying low, taking advantage of the generosity of one of his old corporate contacts, finally opens the message. And as he reads it, as the green glow of his wrist PDA illuminates his face in the dim room. He smiles. And before you retire to bed in your shitty slums apartment that night, Ghost, before you close your eyes, a message blinks into view, hovering in the blackness of your bedroom in front of your eyes. It simply reads, Allianson's working on something. Secret project. Codenamed Old Gods. And I want it.
Alright.
So, I assume, based on what Kitty Bang Bang was saying before, that you do not wish to head to the video studio tonight. You're going to spend a day... Yep.
That is a question. How are we doing on hit points and glitches? I think we're mostly good on hit points,
yeah,
but...
except for the fact that Ghost is down 3 from the black eye.
Yeah, I'm on 3
how
of
many you got
6,
left?
and I'm out of glitches.
Alright, we need to get our hacker a nap. There's going to be some hacking later.
Alright,
That would be nice.
so you retire... Yep.
And when you wake up in the morning, there is a literal doggy bag in your room with the delicious
I
smelling
love
food
it.
in it. It's a picture of a dog on a bag with a "We sell hound by the pound."
Oh my god.
And if you eat it, it will give you D4 temporary hit points.
Lovely. So, as the sun rises, as the neon lights of Psy turn off, and like cockroaches, all of you shitheads scurry away to your little hidey holes, to your slums apartments that are little more than a bedroom with a tiny kitchenette attached. You rest, recover from the events of this very interesting night, and prepare for what lies ahead. You each recover 1d6 HP, in addition to the d4 temporary hit points you receive from Kitty Kitty Bang Bang's baked doggy bag cupcakes. So potentially you can get up to 10 HP here. And in addition, if you look on the class page for your class, you can roll the glitch die, or if you've got it noted down on your sheet, you can roll the glitch die to see how many glitches you recover.
Did we all get +4 HP for that, or just Ghost?
Yeah, Kitty Kitty Bang Bang has delivered little doggy bags to each of you, and as
Excellent.
Technically, the cupcakes are poodle strudel.
That was very nice. I got all my glitches back and all my health.
Lovely. And how much are we looking in temporary HP?
Yes, that's 10 of 6.
Ooh,
Nice.
10,
Ooh, good roll.
Full HP. Good roll. Good roll indeed.
All right. Now your brain has armor.
And with that... Yep, go ahead. Go ahead, Paradox.
I was just going to say, what was the temporary hit point roll again?
So temporary hit point
1d4.
roll, 1d4, and the recover hit points, 1d6. And whatever your glitch die is in glitches.
When does the fumble reset?
So the fumble, you're going to sleep, your fumble resets back to normal.
Lovely.
All traces of your presence within
I'll
the
take two.
city-wide net have disappeared. And the ICE and the corporate counter-hackers are no longer looking for you.
Oh.
And with that, we end our first session of Cyborg New Gods. That was part 1 of Do No Harm. We'll be back in 2 weeks for the job itself. Break into the old vid studio, deal with whatever gang has taken up residence there, hack into the data node in the basement, and retrieve the ownership deed for Doc Tate. A simple job. A good one for wetting your teeth, for cutting your teeth, and starting to carve a reputation as punks in this city, but Murphy's Law reigns supreme inside. If things can go wrong, they will. And the universe doesn't like little shithead punks like you.